Welcome to the Sky Garden House, a breathtaking fusion of architecture and nature, where luxury meets sustainability, panoramic city views inspire awe, and every corner whispers elegance high above the skyline. Imagine waking up every morning not to the sound of traffic, honking cars, or the choking fumes of city life, but to the rustle of leaves, the song of birds, and the soft golden light filtering through a wall of glass surrounded by greenery. This is the dream that architects call the Sky Garden House, a home suspended in the sky, where nature is not an afterthought but the very foundation of the design. It looks like something straight out of science fiction, a futuristic glass box rising above the city, wrapped in trees, flowers, and even miniature forests. It feels like paradise. But here's the question. Is this really the future of sustainable living, or just another shiny toy for the world's wealthiest? The Sky Garden House has been praised as the answer to our overcrowded cities, the solution to pollution, and even the model for how humans can survive in the next century. After all, if our cities are turning into concrete jungles, why not literally build jungles into the concrete? On paper, it sounds revolutionary. But beneath the beauty, beneath the marketing slogans about eco-living and harmony with nature, lies a controversy that refuses to go away. Because while these houses are sold as solutions for everyone, they are rarely built for the people who need them most. Think about it. The average family struggling to pay rent can barely afford a single-bedroom flat, let alone a futuristic glass palace in the sky. And yet, developers keep presenting these houses as the future of urban life. So who is this future really for? That's the uncomfortable truth. People don't want to talk about. Sky Garden houses are often less about saving the planet and more about selling luxury lifestyles. Some call it innovation, others call it hypocrisy. But whichever side you're on, you can't deny one thing. The Sky Garden House has become one of the most fascinating and controversial symbols of our time. The architectural vision behind the Sky Garden House is bold, futuristic, and deeply symbolic. At its heart lies a simple idea: to reunite modern human life with nature, even in the middle of concrete-packed cities. Instead of building yet another lifeless glass tower, architects have imagined a structure that breathes walls of transparent glass, terraces draped with plants, and rooftops transformed into floating forests. The Sky Garden House isn't just a home. It is designed to look like a living organism, blurring the line between architecture and nature. The design often features open-air terraces, green rooftops, and vertical gardens that climb the sides of the building. Rainwater is collected and recycled through irrigation systems, keeping the gardens alive without wasting resources. Solar panels, natural ventilation, and even algae walls are sometimes integrated, turning the house into a self-sustaining ecosystem. From the outside, it feels like a futuristic greenhouse suspended in the sky. From the inside, it offers an escape. Residents are surrounded by plants, light, and open space, as if they live in a private park high above the noise of the city. But this vision is not just about beauty. Architects frame it as a practical solution to overcrowded cities and climate change. With urban populations exploding and ground space shrinking, building upward seems inevitable. The Sky Garden House represents a promise: vertical living where residents don't have to give up their connection to greenery. It's sold as the perfect balance between luxury, sustainability, and survival in an increasingly hostile world. Yet beneath this bold vision lies an uncomfortable question: are these homes truly designed to save cities, or are they luxury experiments meant only for those who can afford to buy paradise in the sky? On the surface, the Sky Garden House is marketed as the future of sustainable living. Promotional videos talk about solving the climate crisis, saving energy, and creating greener cities for everyone. But here's the truth that makes this idea controversial. These homes are rarely built for everyone. They are built for the wealthy. A Sky Garden House doesn't come cheap. Prices soar into the millions, making them accessible only to a tiny elite who can afford to live in glass palaces with private gardens floating in the sky. For most families, who are already struggling with rent, bills, and basic housing shortages, this so-called solution to urban life might as well exist on another planet. This raises the uncomfortable question: are Sky Garden houses really a necessity? Or are they a luxury dressed up as eco-living? Developers love to paint them as essential for the future of cities, but if ordinary people can't afford them, then who exactly are they saving? It almost feels like two separate worlds, one where the rich breathe fresh, filtered air inside their vertical gardens, and another where the poor continue to suffer pollution and overcrowding below. Instead of fixing inequality, these projects risk making it worse by turning sustainability into yet another status symbol. Think about it: should access to clean air, sunlight, and greenery be a luxury? Or should these be basic rights for everyone in a modern society? That's where the controversy deepens. For some, the Sky Garden House is an inspiring vision of what is possible. For others, it's proof that the gap between rich and poor is no longer just on the ground, but rising into the sky. The dream of living among the clouds may be beautiful, but for most people, it remains just that, a dream. When developers and architects talk about the Sky Garden House, they paint a glowing picture of sustainability. They claim these futuristic homes will reduce carbon footprints, recycle water, filter air, and even create mini ecosystems in the middle of concrete jungles. The idea is seductive: a building that doesn't just stand on land, but actually gives back to the planet. Imagine vertical farms providing fresh food, rainwater harvested for irrigation, and solar panels powering entire households. On paper, it looks like the perfect marriage of technology and nature. But critics argue that this vision is not only misleading, it might even be a dangerous distraction. Here's where the eco debate begins. Supporters see the Sky Garden House as a real step toward combating climate change. If more buildings integrate gardens, natural ventilation, and renewable energy, cities could become greener, cleaner, and more livable. Every patch of greenery matters when urban areas are choking under smog and heat waves. For architects and environmentalists, these projects prove that we can live in harmony with nature, even in high-rise megacities. To them, Sky Garden houses are prototypes of the future. And though expensive today, the hope is that one day the technology will become affordable for all. But opponents call this a form of greenwashing, a clever marketing strategy to sell luxury homes under the banner of eco-consciousness. They argue that while these buildings boast sustainability features, their environmental impact is often exaggerated. The resources needed to design, build, and maintain them can outweigh the supposed benefits. Worse, because they are marketed as exclusive, they do little to address the wider climate crisis that affects everyone. A city can't go green if only the richest 1% live in eco-homes, while millions remain stuck in polluting, overcrowded housing. The Sky Garden House might be celebrated as an architectural marvel, but it has also become a symbol of inequality. While the wealthy enjoy private gardens high above the city, most ordinary people remain trapped below, struggling with rising rents, overcrowded flats, and polluted air. These futuristic homes are marketed as a step toward sustainable living, yet their exclusivity creates a divide: those who can afford paradise in the sky, and those who cannot. Instead of fixing the housing crisis, they highlight it, drawing a line between privilege and survival. This division is more than financial, it is visual. Picture the skyline of a modern city: sleek towers covered in greenery, each home costing millions. They shine like castles in the clouds, symbols of progress and luxury. But at ground level, reality is harsher. Homelessness, slums, and decaying public housing stand in stark contrast to the glass palaces above. It's no wonder critics describe Sky Garden houses as fortresses for the few. They don't just separate people by class, they literally lift the wealthy into the air, leaving everyone else below in the shadows. One of the biggest controversies surrounding Sky Garden houses isn't just how they are built, but who gets to enjoy them. Developers often advertise these projects as green gifts to the city, showcasing lush gardens, panoramic views, and promises of sustainability. But the reality is usually very different. In most cases, access to these sky-high gardens is either heavily restricted or entirely private. Only residents, wealthy buyers, or invited guests are allowed to step inside. For the public, these futuristic spaces remain out of reach, visible only from a distance like a glittering mirage. Take the example of London's famous Sky Garden at 20 Fenchurch Street, often called the walkie-talkie building. It was approved partly on the condition that its garden would be free for the public to visit. Technically, it is, but in practice, entry is tightly controlled. Visitors must book timed slots in advance, pass through airport-style security, and follow strict rules once inside. Critics argue that this isn't true public access at all. It's a carefully managed experience that prioritizes exclusivity over inclusivity. What was meant to be a shared green space often feels like a luxury attraction, designed to serve the building's prestige rather than the public good. The idea of building gardens into the very fabric of homes and cities isn't new. In fact, it's one of humanity's oldest dreams. Thousands of years ago, long before glass towers and solar panels, people were already trying to bring nature closer to their living spaces. The most famous example is the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. According to legend, King Nebuchadnezzar II built them for his wife, who missed the green mountains of her homeland. The gardens rose like a staircase into the sky, filled with trees, flowers, and flowing water, a man-made paradise in the middle of the desert. Though historians still debate whether they truly existed, the myth has shaped our imagination for centuries. Fast forward to the modern age, and the same vision reappears in the form of the Sky Garden House. Just like Babylon's gardens symbolized wealth, power, and human creativity, today's vertical gardens reflect similar ambitions. Architects and developers claim they are solving environmental challenges, but critics point out that these projects often carry the same symbolism as ancient wonders: exclusivity, prestige, and status. The difference is that instead of kings and queens commissioning lush terraces, it is today's billionaires and corporations who build eco-palaces in the sky. But the historical roots of the Sky Garden House aren't only about grandeur, they also reveal humanity's deep desire to merge nature with the built environment. From rooftop courtyards in ancient Rome, to Islamic gardens in Persia, to terraced rice fields in Asia, people have always tried to integrate greenery into daily life. The Sky Garden House is the latest chapter in this long story. It may look futuristic, but its roots stretch back thousands of years. The only question is whether we've learned from history or whether we're repeating the same pattern, turning gardens in the sky into symbols of privilege rather than shared beauty. When people look at the Sky Garden House, they don't just see a single building, they see a vision of what the future might look like. Imagine entire skylines filled with vertical forests, rooftop farms, and glass towers wrapped in greenery. Instead of gray concrete dominating the city, you'd see living, breathing ecosystems growing high above the streets. Some architects even predict that future cities could function almost like giant green lungs, cleaning the air, reducing heat, and producing food for their residents. In this vision, the Sky Garden House is just the first step toward transforming urban life into something healthier, cleaner, and more connected to nature. But here's the controversy. Will this future truly belong to everyone, or only to those who can afford it? If technology remains expensive and designs continue to cater to luxury buyers, then the dream of eco-cities will stay locked away in exclusive towers. That means the same divide we see today between the wealthy in their sky gardens and the ordinary people below could grow even sharper. Instead of solving inequality, this futuristic vision might deepen it, turning green cities into playgrounds for the elite while leaving the rest of society behind in outdated, polluted housing. There is also the question of practicality. Can Sky Garden houses be scaled up for millions of people, or are they simply too costly and complex? Some argue that as technology improves, features like vertical farming, solar power, and natural cooling could become cheaper and more widespread, eventually reaching middle class and even affordable housing. Others warn that without government intervention, developers will continue to use these designs as luxury branding rather than real solutions. The future of the Sky Garden House depends on one thing: whether we treat it as a common necessity for all humanity, or let it remain a luxury trophy for the few. If there's one thing the media loves, it's a good spectacle, and the Sky Garden House provides exactly that. From glossy architecture magazines to Instagram feeds filled with luxury lifestyles, these futuristic green towers are showcased as if they are symbols of progress, wealth, and modern taste. Every angle, every shot, is designed to impress, sweeping drone footage of glass walls wrapped in plants, influencers posing in rooftop gardens, or cinematic tours that make the buildings look like heaven on earth. In pop culture, the Sky Garden House has become less about practical living and more about branding a fantasy of future where nature and technology coexist in perfect harmony. But this media obsession raises some uncomfortable truths. Are Sky Garden houses being promoted because they truly solve environmental problems, or because they make for good marketing? The polished images and viral videos rarely show the downsides like the staggering costs, the exclusivity, or the limited impact on wider urban sustainability. Instead, the focus is on glamour, billionaires buying eco-mansions, celebrities hosting parties in glass towers, and films using these designs as backdrops for futuristic cityscapes. The narrative becomes clear: owning a Sky Garden house isn't just about living green, it's about showing status. In Hollywood and television, these homes are often portrayed as the pinnacle of futuristic living. Sci-fi movies use similar designs to depict utopian societies, while dystopian films flip the script, showing elites hiding in their glass gardens while the rest of humanity struggles outside. This dual-image heaven and hypocrisy mirrors the real-world debate. On one hand, the Sky Garden house inspires hope for cleaner cities. On the other, it fuels resentment by turning sustainability into a lifestyle accessory. Pop culture doesn't just reflect how we see these homes, it shapes it. And in doing so, it keeps the controversy alive. Is the Sky Garden house the beginning of a better world? Or just another way the rich sell us a dream we'll never live in? The Sky Garden house stands as one of the most striking contradictions of our time. On one hand, it is a breathtaking vision, an architectural attempt to fuse modern life with nature, to bring forests and gardens into the very skies above our cities. It embodies human creativity, technological progress, and our ancient desire to live closer to the natural world. For many, it is a symbol of hope, a sign that humanity can find innovative ways to survive in crowded, polluted cities while still preserving beauty and balance. But on the other hand, it is also a mirror reflecting the inequalities of our society. These homes, marketed as sustainable and eco-friendly, are often priced far beyond the reach of ordinary families. They promise green living, yet they remain locked away in glass towers reserved for the wealthy few. They claim to represent a solution to urban problems, yet in reality, they may deepen the very divides they pretend to heal. Clean air, sunlight, and access to green space should be basic rights, not luxuries with million-dollar price tags. This is the core of the controversy. The Sky Garden house can either be remembered as a turning point, a step toward greener, more sustainable cities, or as a cautionary tale. Proof that even nature itself can be bought, branded, and sold to the highest bidder. The dream of living in the sky is undeniably beautiful, but until it is accessible to all, it will remain just that, a dream. And perhaps the real question we must ask ourselves is this: are we building homes for the future of humanity, or are we simply building monuments to privilege?